NXT TakeOver New York takes place this Friday in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, but we can't call the show NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 5 because the show takes place during WrestleMania weekend. I guess Brooklyn is reserved just for a show that takes place during SummerSlam weekend. And maybe because it's WrestleMania, they want the show to mean more, so they have to call it New York to make it seem like it's a bigger show than the SummerSlam show. But I'm a bit disappointed they didn't decide to run the Garden. What happened was, because they didn't run the Garden and they were in New York, Ring of Honor and New Japan decided to take MSG, and because of that, the show was going to take place on a Saturday. WWE, for whatever reason, decided to move this show a night before on a Friday night. So it's great if you're going to New York, you can go to TakeOver Friday, then on Saturday, if you don't want to go to the Hall of Fame, you can go to the ROH New Japan show, and then on Sunday, you have WrestleMania. And I don't know if they moved it because of competition, because there's always competition every year, but maybe they wanted to feature the Hall of Fame this year. And one thing I'm interested is next year when SmackDown moves to a Friday night, how are they going to book it? Are they going to have TakeOver on the Saturday, SmackDown Friday, Hall of Fame Thursday, or are they going to have to move TakeOver to the Thursday and then the Hall of Fame on the Saturday, because Friday is going to be a live SmackDown. So that'll be interesting to see how they work that out. But looking at this card, it has a lot of pressure on it because last year at TakeOver during WrestleMania, it was New Orleans. And that was, in my opinion, the best TakeOver show I have ever seen. It was an all-time classic wrestling show. Maybe the best WWE show of all time, or at least in the top 10. It was a great show. Easily the best TakeOver. So this has a lot of pressure. But when I look at this card from top to bottom, it has the ability to top it because it's a stacked card. In particular, I see a main event that could be one of the greatest matches in WWE history. And I'm sure they're going to get a lot of time. So let's start with the match. I think that'll probably open the show because they usually like to open the show with tag team matches, and that's going to be for the NXT Tag Team Championships. You have the War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, defending their titles against Aleister Black and Ricochet, who decided to become a tag team after they joined the main roster. I don't know if this was always the plan. It seems like Black and Ricochet just became a tag team as soon as they got to on Raw. And then NXT, they haven't officially left NXT, so NXT decided to use them in the Dusty Classic, and they had them win it to get this match. But that's our match. It should be a hell of a match. Ricochet is great. Aleister Black's great. Hanson and Rowe are an awesome tag team. I'm sure they're going to do a lot of big stuff here. I think the outcome to me is very predictable, but I don't see it as a reason to be angry. I don't think there's any reason why Aleister Black and Ricochet should win because they're on the main roster. They're there. I don't know what's going on with Gargano, if he's going to be on the main roster or he's back on NXT, but Black and Ricochet are permanently on there. And I don't think it makes any sense for them to win. I'm just looking for a great match. This is the perfect match to open the show with. Fans love Aleister, love Ricochet. They're into the War Raiders, and I see the champs retaining here. Next, we have a match that I think many think could be the match of the year, and that is for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. They can't call it the NXT UK title. They have to call it the WWE United Kingdom Championship. You have Pete Dunne defending his title against Walter. This can go either way. This is going to be an excellent match. My favorite UK match was Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. They had a match at a TakeOver in the United States a couple of years ago. I think this can top it. Walter's fantastic, and so is Dunne. They are going to go all out for this. This is for UK NXT. NXT UK, they had their first TakeOver, but they haven't really built to anything since. We haven't seen much of Toni Storm. I thought she could actually wrestle on the show if they really wanted to get the UK show over. Maybe next year, or I don't know how much longer. Maybe they do a UK show during WrestleMania and an American NXT show. But for this match, it's very tough to predict. I could easily see Pete Dunne retaining the title, and I can easily see Walter winning. As to who wins, at first I was thinking Pete Dunne's going to win because it's in America. It's not the UK show. But then I think to myself, you know what? This is WrestleMania weekend. Walter's a big star. The fans really like Walter, as they like Pete Dunne too, but Walter's a big indie star. They want to get as much eyeballs on the UK brand as possible. They really want to get this over. Triple H has his fingertips all over it, just like he has on the regular NXT. I think because of that, and because Pete Dunne's been in NXT for a while now, he's been there for, 2 years? 2.5 years. I think he might come to the American brand, or he might go to the main roster. I think because of that, they're going to have Walter win. I think they're going to have a great classic match. They're going to tell him to go all out. But right now, my gut is telling me new champ, and I think Walter becomes the UK champion here. Next, the NXT North American Championship. You have the Velveteen Dream against Matt Riddle. This is another match for, it seems like someone's going to the main roster. Every single match, it looks like someone's being moved up. Every match. Everyone. You can run down the whole card. It looks like Black and Ricochet are going to leave. It looks like Pete Dunne's going to at least go to the American NXT. It looks like Velveteen's going to get called up. It looks like Baszler is going to come to the main roster, and it looks like Gargano is. So it's not too hard of a show to predict, but to me, this is almost a lock of the night. Maybe other than the tag title match. The North American Championship, Velveteen Dream against Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's not going to lose anytime soon. It doesn't make any sense in the world to beat him. They're building him up like a fucking killer. He's a stoner, but he's like an ass kicker. He smokes a lot of weed, but he's a legitimate MMA fighter. He keeps talking about wanting to retire Brock Lesnar. I think to myself, that's a joke. I mean, I like Matt Riddle, but I mean, he can't compete with Brock Lesnar. Brock would kill him in an actual fight. Him and the Velveteen Dream, I think Velveteen's coming up. I don't think there's anything left for him to do in NXT. He wants to go up too. I think he's accomplished almost all he could if they're not going to give him the title. It seems like he's not a guy who they want to put the title on anytime soon. And if they're not going to do that, it doesn't make any sense to leave him in NXT anymore. I think his character is able to be written off, and I think he'll probably debut on the main roster on Raw or SmackDown the night after WrestleMania or 2 nights after WrestleMania, and he will get a massive pop. But for this match, I think new champ here again. I think Matt Riddle takes it. The next match is for the NXT Women's Championship. It's a Fatal 4-Way match, and I think this is the hardest match to predict. I can see any one of these four winning. You have Shayna Baszler defending her title against Bianca Belair, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai. You know, Bianca Belair and Kairi Sane are the two women who she has already beaten. She hasn't really beaten Io Shirai. I almost think they're going to set up Shayna and Io Shirai for the next show. I don't know if they do that in June or when they're going to do that. Then the takeover after this, because they've had her already. She's beaten Kairi. They've had her wrestle Kairi Sane a whole bunch of times, and she's beat Belair at the last show in Phoenix. So it makes you think they're going to go to her and Io Shirai next. And maybe Io Shirai doesn't take the win here. I can see Duke and Shafir getting involved, and this is very hard to predict. Baszler's probably the favorite. Bianca Belair can easily win this match. Triple H loves Bianca Belair. She has a lot of star potential. She can win. Kairi Sane could win. She's the least likely, in my opinion, because I think they've already given her a run. I think she's probably leaving soon to the main roster. But Io Shirai is definitely a possibility. It's any one of these four could win this match. And it's almost like, it's hard to predict who's going to win. If I have to put money on it, I'm going to go with Bianca Belair. Because I think Ronda Rousey is going to leave after WrestleMania. I think she'll be back, but I think it's going to be a hiatus. And how they end WrestleMania is going to be interesting. And how they build after that will be interesting to see. Because I could see Baszler coming to the main roster on Raw after WrestleMania and attacking like Becky or Charlotte or somebody. I could see that. I think they're going to go with Belair. I think they really they got her over pretty well at the last show, and I think because it's WrestleMania weekend, they're going to crown her. I could be dead wrong. I like to see Belair winning because I think she has a lot of potential. I think she can be a big star. And I'm going to give her the win, but I'm not confident at all. I can easily see Baszler retaining. I can see Kairi winning as a surprise, and I can see Io winning. But I'm going to say Belair wins, and I think she'll probably pin Baszler if she wins. So I'm going to go with Bianca Belair in this match. Next match, the main events. 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano takes on Adam Cole. A match that was originally designed to be Ciampa and Gargano. And in that match, I thought for sure Johnny Gargano is going to beat Tommaso Ciampa. They built it up great. I love the stuff with Candice LeRae not wanting Gargano to go back to Ciampa with DIY. The angle they shot on NXT when he tried to do the same thing he did to him a couple years ago in Chicago, but then Gargano saw and he destroyed Ciampa on the stage. That was such a great angle, and it's an absolute shame Tommaso Ciampa had to get a neck injury, and he's forfeiting the belt. Could be out for over a year. This absolutely sucks for Ciampa, and I don't want to feel sorry for him because he does such a good job playing a heel, but you feel really bad for the guy. But Gargano and Cole, again, you look at it, is Johnny Gargano going to the main roster? Probably. This is a tough match to predict. I don't want to give away spoilers, but there has been advertisements with Adam Cole as the champion. And it's not just that, but I think this makes the most sense because I think Adam Cole should win this match. I like Gargano, but I feel like with him, they've done so much with him in NXT. He's had so many great matches with Almas, with Ciampa, with Aleister, with Ricochet. It's just, it's been crazy the amount of great matches this guy has had. He had great matches when he was with Ciampa when they faced a Revival. I feel like it's time for him to go to the main roster, and not everyone can be the champion. I don't think he needs it right now because I think it will only make more sense for him to beat Ciampa. If he can't beat Ciampa, I think it makes more sense to give the title to Adam Cole. And even though he's a heel, the fans love Adam Cole. The fans are going to be electric for this match, and they're not going to be angry that he wins the title. So I think they're going to push the Undisputed Era for a while in NXT. I've heard absolutely nothing about them coming to the main roster. Gargano's been on the main roster. I think he's coming up permanently after WrestleMania. Help him on the main roster. God help him, because I don't see him doing anything. But I think Johnny Gargano is done in NXT, and I think Adam Cole is your new NXT champion. So card looks amazing. Could see a lot of main roster call-ups. This could be the show in which you see a lot of final appearances in NXT. I think for sure Black and Ricochet. Probably the Velveteen Dream, maybe Shayna Baszler, and maybe Johnny Gargano. So I think this is going to be the next TakeOver. Will almost be really a lot of new faces. It'll almost be like a new era in NXT after the show. So that's your predictions. This show is going to be amazing. It'll probably be better than WrestleMania, as it always TakeOver is better than the pay-per-view. But WrestleMania could be a good show, but when I look at this card, you just know it's going to deliver like it always does. It's like WrestleMania can't touch the show. Let's be real; it's not going to touch it. So card is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure almost everyone has nothing really bad to say about the show. It's going to be an amazing show. NXT always has great takeovers, and on Friday night, this show will be no different.